If you listen to the internet, people will tell you to never buy an old Land Rover. And that's exactly what we've done with that truck behind me, a 2004 Discovery. Well, today we're going to go over exactly what's gone wrong with it in the last year of ownership and 8,000 miles. We're going to do it by finding a classic Colorado trail here in the Rocky Mountains. But it's soaking wet. I think we'll find some mud. Come on, let's go. In this video, we're taking our old Land Rover up Cliffhanger 1.0, an old school TFL trail. But first, let's go over all the things that have broken and gone wrong on this trusty old recovery rig. We bought this 04 Discovery just under a year ago, roughly 11 months ago. And I hate to say it, I hate to prove you guys wrong, but it's been easily my favorite vehicle I've purchased, the company's purchased. It's just so great, and we're gonna go over why that is. So, got my key here, into the ignition. 7,000 miles, will it start? Yes, it will. Let's start with a question of reliability, because that's the question you all wanna know about. Now, when we bought this vehicle for $5,300, it had all the mods that you see on it. So the lift, the tires, the bumper, the roof rack. And we had to put about $1,500 into it right off the bat, sorting out the rear brakes. So it needed pads, rotors, all of it. It needed the full shebang in the rear. And once we did that, it's been, well, dead reliable. It uses a little bit of oil and it uses a little bit of coolant, about half a quart every 1,500 miles or so. So nothing too crazy. Now, of course, this is the legendary Land Rover that when we bought, we took to a mechanic and apparently it needed $8,000 worth of work. Of course, we didn't do any of it. We just drove it. And I have to say that the reliability has been stellar. Now, we have chosen to fix some things that didn't necessarily need to be fixed, but improved the look and improved the drivability. So the first thing we did was the rear bumper. If you notice in the video, it's cracked and old and worn out and looks terrible. So we went ahead and bought this aftermarket unit. It was pretty expensive. It was, I want to say, $300-400. And of course, we also had to buy the assembly for the rear fog light because it was missing. So that was another $50 or so. We also replaced the front cowl here, which is plastic. It was old and cracked, which is pretty common. That part alone was $250. Both the bumper and the cowl we replaced on our own, so no labor there. You know, fun little easy jobs like that are great practice. The only thing we've had to take it into the shop for was a week ago. I got back from a 1,500 mile road trip adventure through Utah with some friends in this Discovery. Performed like a dream, but it did start seeping out of the rear diff, and then it started leaking out of the rear diff, and then it started absolutely pouring out of the rear diff. So we went and took it to Devon's Car Care, our mechanic. Essentially what happened was, on the casing there's a line of bolts, and they had just come undone, and it wasn't creating a seal. We thought initially it was going to be a bearing or something. So this is an interesting section of trail. This is Cliffhanger 1.0, and it's a trail we used to use several years ago. It's kind of infamous of being one of the trail that scratched a car, and that's the best part about this $5,300 Land Rover, is I don't have to worry about it because it's an old Land Rover, and if it gets scratched, who cares? Now, why did we buy this Land Rover? Well, we bought it as a recovery rig, a rescue rig for when we go off-roading, and that's why a lot of you guys were laughing at us, because you said, who the heck would buy an old Land Rover as a recovery rig? Well, we did, and it's proven to be quite useful on several occasions. We've needed it, and it's worked perfectly. It's, of course, got the Warren winch, it's got a bunch of recovery points on it, and it's got an amazing four-wheel drive system. Now, when I was in Moab with my friends, I took this on our classic off-road trail, which, you know, pushes the limits of a lot of modern vehicles, and this thing didn't care at all. It is amazing off-road, and that's because it's got a lot of articulation with the solid front and rear axles, got a lot of ground clearance with the lift, and it's got a lot of tire with these Duratracks. Now, speaking of Duratracks, we bought this truck and they were about halfway worn out. Now they're down to about a third, so we're gonna have to start looking at tires in the near future. But other than that, there's nothing else this truck really needs. We haven't had any overheating issues. We haven't had any issues with the front drive shaft, which is notorious for exploding. It's been an amazing experience. And why is the Land Rover Discovery so great to own? Well, it's a combination of things, because I've never, and I still have yet to drive a modern vehicle that combines the luxury, there's the rack again, that combines the luxuriousness of leather and heated seats and automatic climate control, but sheer off-road prowess and durability like this Land Rover, and I just can't kill it. And we make a pretty good effort of it here at TFL because it never gets serviced. It sits out its entire life in the rain and the mud and the snow, doesn't really get washed, rarely has oil changes. I mean, it gets beaten to death. Our videographers drive it, they run it into things. Okay, so we made it to Cliffhanger 1.0. We've only done a couple of videos here because, like I said, the trail here is narrow. You can pinstripe the side of vehicles, but it's steep, it's gnarly, it's rooted out. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge for the Discovery. Speaking of the Discovery, let's do a quick walk around. I can show you what we're dealing with. So, we bought it a year ago, pretty much exactly how it looks today. And I don't care what you drive. Like, I'm open to all sorts of vehicles. But your truck doesn't look as good as this one. It just doesn't. I mean, this is a perfect stance. It's got the perfect mods. It's awesome. So, up front, ARB bumper, Warn Xeon 10S winch. It's a closed loop winch system, which is pretty slick. Slee Off-Road Fairlead on there. None of the companies here are paying us to say anything about them. They're my real opinion. Now, I know these ARBs have a bit of a reputation of being kind of soft when you run them into trees. Haven't done that yet. Well, haven't done that too hard yet, so nothing's happened there. Other things, headlights. These are the updated headlights for 2003. I had one of them fail on my way back to Utah, so I replaced it, thought I could get away with it. A day later, the second one failed. And now all the other bulbs are failing on the truck, so I just gotta bite the bullet and do all of them. Down the side, stock Discovery wheels. These are 16-inch wheels. We get a lot of emails with the tire sizes. The Duratracs on this have been pretty good. 265, 75 are 16s, and about a 3.5-inch Terra Firma lift. The lift kit is a good stance. It's got pretty good amount of clearance. I will say the shocks are completely shot on this. I don't know when the lift was done, but it must have been a while ago because it rides like a Cadillac, but when you start pushing it, you can bottom out the suspension far too easily. Not going to change it, because I love the Cadillac fluidity ride on a daily basis, but it's a little worn out. These are interesting. So these are, I think they're custom. I don't know, I've never seen these on any other vehicle or any other Discovery. They may be custom made, but they're rock rails. They're mounted to the body, unfortunately, but they're pretty damn beefy. Here on our custom bumper, aftermarket bumper, we hit a rock and lost a little molding piece. We had to replace, like I said, one of the backup lights and rear fogs. It doesn't have a rear wiper because it doesn't fit with our oversized spare. Fuel cap here is held on with a little bit of wire because it's old. And then a roof rack. This is a Baja rack with our Easy On tent. And I gotta say, it looks cool with the Easy On tent, but can't go into garages anymore, parking garages. It's a little bit top heavy on the trail, so we kind of take that on and off when we need it. We put this on here, high lift jack, because the stock jack is missing and it wouldn't work anyways because it's too high. Then, of course, we have a set of fake Max Tracks, a set of $52 Hella lights up top, which do nothing. I mean, I wish I had a horror story for you about how the engine's blown up and gerbils got lodged in the exhaust and how the transmission's fallen out, but none of that's happened yet. Love the interior. Best part of the vehicle. Every part's the best part, but the interior really is the best part. Comfortable, cushy leather seats up here. We got the wood grain on the dashboard. Original radio, which is good. It's actually not too terrible. I use a I'll show you here. I use a little cassette player to play my tunes. Adjustable armrest. I have a whole feature video on what's cool and what's not with the Discovery where I go really in depth on everything. All the seat stuff works. Air conditioning works good. Heated seat works. Yeah, it's all good. It's all strong. I'll show you the engine. 4.6 liter V8. 215 horsepower-ish. If you ever need to know how to pop the hood on a Discovery, well, there's your standard latch under there, and then the hood latch is actually underneath the R, so a little top tip there. Okay, there you go. It's dirty, and it just keeps running. I thought it had a little bit of a rod knock for a while, then I thought it had a slip liner, because these are known for having cylinder liners that'll slip eventually. But it hasn't overheated. Doesn't seem to care. Fill it up with oil every now and then. Coolant, you gotta watch the coolant level, because it'll dip every now and then. You can see actually if you come over here, where is it? That that back right bank of cylinders, you'll actually see where it's leaking just a little bit out of the head gasket. Now, there's a few places a head gasket can leak. They can leak on the inside of the cylinder walls or on the outside. You're better off having it leak on the outside, but it doesn't overheat. Not going to touch it until we absolutely need to. We're actually thinking about that, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Rather than going ahead and spending the money to do the head gaskets, because I can't do it myself because I'm an ape, but I'm thinking actually about buying a spare truck if that goes wrong. So you can find these even crashed for, you know, a couple grand, and a lot of them have had the head gaskets done, so might as well just swap in that 4 liter, maybe a 4.6. Anyway, if you guys know these trucks really well, let me know in the comment section below. Windshield got a chip in it, filled the chip. The heating element in the windshield, which these are known for, doesn't do anything, which is a shame because it's a really cool thing. Of course, if you did want to replace windshields, it'd be like $1,400, so not gonna do that. But yeah, I mean, I can't express to you guys enough how much fun this Land Rover has been. And if I suggest that you go out and buy one, there's gonna be some troll that'll be like, never listen to his advice, he's a skinny ass kid, doesn't know what he's talking about. And you're right, I don't. But from our experience, this has been an absolute monster on-road, off-road to look at, to take people in, to camp in. But yeah, enough blabbing. Let's get up Cliffhanger 1.0. So what do we need to do to get up Cliffhanger 1.0? Well, I put it in 4-low, flicked over the transfer case lever to engage the center diff lock. I released the handbrake, which is center mounted, so it's right by the transfer case. Let's talk about power really quick. Now, 217 horsepower, 300 pound-feet of torque does not sound like a lot of power for a truck that weighs, you know, 6,000 pounds with all the mods. But, I mean, you'll quickly find it's actually plenty of power. Now, come on, dig. Pretty muddy up here. The brakes on this Discovery still aren't brilliant. Gonna need to bump it a little more than that. Or take a different line, but we'll see what I can do. Come on, dig, dig, dig. There you go, there you go. There you go. So this has a pretty advanced traction control for 2004, and what you gotta learn to do, which is kind of counterintuitive, is you just have to stay in the throttle, and it will actually distribute power exactly where it needs to go when it needs to go there. And it works super well, even by modern standards. It's probably one of, if not the best traction control, things are falling out, the best traction control systems you can buy anywhere. Okay, now let's go back down and I'll demonstrate one of the not so great parts of the Discovery. Now, Land Rover actually pioneered hill descent control in the Land Rover Freelander, and it made its way into the Discovery as well. So I just push a little button here on the dash, and then the green light comes on, and hill descent control is engaged. However, it is far too fast. So what I prefer to do is first gear, and then just kind of crawl my way down this hill. Now I do have a bunch of stuff in the back because this is a recovery rig. Let's see how it does. See some of the articulation here. So foot on the brake, first gear, engaged. It's pretty good. Not brilliant, mind you, but pretty good. Big ledge here. A lot of clearance though, so it should not be an issue. And it isn't. Of course, if I had aired down, it would have been even less of an issue. And then this is probably the biggest ledge. Yeah, hill descent control is just too fast. Maybe it was okay on the standard tires, but on these tires, it's no bueno. And check that out. We're down. I mean, the Discovery makes everything seem like it's a walk in the park. It's just super capable. In case you're wondering, fuel economy on the highway, we get about 13, which isn't stellar. In the city, it'll be closer to 11 or 12. Water pump's been fine. Steering is all good. It's a little bit loose off-road. You can kind of hear the rack shake, so it'll probably need a rack at some point. And speaking of some point, you're probably asking, well, when are you going to sell it? And the answer is never. We love this vehicle so much, we are never going to sell it. And we like to give it a hard time because it's got, you know, bad track record for reliability. But I'm happy to say it's proven us all wrong. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how rock steady this truck has been, other than the leaks, and there's been a lot of them. So, talked about the rear diff leak, which is fixed now. It's got a transfer case leak. It's got a leak out of the engine. It's got a leak out of the washer fluid bottle. It just leaks everything out of everywhere. Not like a Exxon Valdez where it's a natural disaster, but enough where it is noticeable if you park it on the driveway. I'm not gonna touch it.
we're at 150,000 miles in this rig right now, and we're just gonna keep going up because I've asked to buy this car from the company a couple times, and my dad just won't sell it. I mean, he loves this thing so much. A couple other things we got back here. We have our ARB twin air compressor that came with the truck, and then if you're curious about what we have back here, camping supplies, tow straps, we've got oil, because Land Rover, also coolant, because also Land Rover, but we've got a big ass knife, some tools, you know, your usual camping fun stuff. So as always, this has been Tommy with the Fastlane car, the Fastlane truck, TFL Off-Road, all the channels. Leave a comment in the section below what you think of this video, what you think of our old trusty Landy here. Tell me how I'm wrong, tell me about how I'm a Land Rover hater and then at the same time I'm a fanboy. You know, it's the internet. Do whatever you want. Okay, see you next time.